Hey there, Max Mortillaro from TECHunplugged, still at KubeCon Paris 2024. I'm here today with Pedro Oliveira from Spectro Cloud. Hello, Pedro.
Hi, hello, how are you guys?
We're doing great, thank you. So we were told that you guys have a really interesting solution, but frankly, I have no idea what you're doing. So can you introduce your company briefly and tell us what problem you're solving?
Of course, and like you said, I work for Spectro Cloud, and our main product is called Palette, and we are a Kubernetes orchestration platform that allows you to deploy Kubernetes anywhere. And what we really focus on is actually elevating and abstracting all the complexity of deploying Kubernetes on any environment, and also at the edge as well. Yeah.
Okay, so when you say orchestrating, obviously that means not only Kubernetes, but also many other components that come with that. So that could be, for example, networking, storage, and so on as well.
Yeah, so we don't go deeper into networking and storage per se from an infrastructure perspective, but that's a very good question because what we do actually is we are using Cluster API or
Okay.
CAPI, which is a CNCF SIG project. And CAPI itself allows you to bootstrap Kubernetes onto different infrastructure providers in the cloud, on-prem, bare metal, or as well at the edge. And that's what we use. So through CAPI, we are able to provision and bootstrap Kubernetes clusters on infrastructure with CNI, with a networking piece, and also with the CSI and the storage. And the great thing about Palette is that we elevate and go even further as well up the stack. So we do the CAPI part, but we also go above it, and we actually allow it to deploy all the integrations and applications in a CAPI style. And what that means is basically you are actually reconciling the entire stack, which we call a cluster profile. So in Palette, we have this concept of a cluster profile, which allows you to set the desired state of your cluster. And that goes from the operating system all the way to the applications. And then through that, you're able to deploy the cluster anywhere. So you basically lock in the configuration and policies of your cluster. And then Palette then goes and deploys that cluster on whatever infrastructure you need. And that allows you to actually really scale out. And that's what we focus on, deploying Kubernetes at scale, and enterprise-grade Kubernetes, which is even harder, right? So at scale through that cluster profile concept as well.
Okay, so there's a lot of really interesting points here. In terms of, let's say, deploying, that means, I think you mentioned even on-prem, right? So you can,
Yeah.
so does it mean that, for example, if I have a cluster which is running somewhere on-prem and I decided I want to somehow port that to the cloud, can I just kind of image it and you kind of put it somewhere in AWS and you scale it how you want? Is that
Yeah,
the
so
concept?
very good point. So not quite as you put it, but Palette allows you to simplify that move
Okay.
very easily because Palette basically allows you to deploy clusters on premises or in the cloud.
Okay.
If you have a model cluster that you've built for VMware, for example, you have your cluster profile for VMware,
Okay.
you can then very easily clone that into a profile that you want to use for AWS or for GCP.
Okay.
And then through Palette, you can integrate into your GCP with all of your RVACs, service accounts, etc. And then through Palette, you can deploy that basically cluster profile clone onto GCP. So you can easily move from VMware into GCP. And the really interesting part of all of this is the fact that you're doing it all from one platform. So we don't really lock you in. So you can go from VMware to GCP or from VMware to AWS or AWS to GCP to Azure. It doesn't really matter.
Okay.
And you're only using one platform, and you don't really need to go deeper into those different cloud structures because we're abstracting away that complexity as well.
Okay. I'm going to ask you two questions in
Please.
one. So, first thing is you mentioned a lot VMware. Obviously, we're always
Yeah.
talking about containers running on VMware, right? And you're not talking yet about some kind of replacement like KubeVirt and stuff like that, right?
I was waiting for you to ask the question. We are doing that as well.
Okay,
Yes.
interesting.
I was going to get to that point. So we actually do KubeVirt as well,
Okay.
but we do a slightly different way, a different approach. So
Okay.
we are using KubeVirt as well, but we are elevating KubeVirt even further. So we have a product which we call a virtual machine orchestrator, so VMO.
Okay.
And VMO in Palette uses KubeVirt and other components like Multus as well for essentially bringing so that you can deploy virtual machines in Palette through KubeVirt
Okay.
in an enterprise grade manner, right? So if you use KubeVirt out of the box, you effectively have VMs that are ephemeral, right? With VMO and pallets, we are basically abstracting away the complexity of setting up KubeVirt to give you things like VMs that are stateful, right? VMs that you can actually attach into your different VLANs, and we have VM templates, so on and so forth. And what this really allows you to, and we did many demos about that actually in the past 2 days, is you can now start bringing your VMs as YAML, because that's what KubeVirt consumes, and your containers as well, right? So you can now have manifests which are creating both VMs and containers, and it's all under one orchestrator platform, right?
Okay, that's super exciting.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting something that cool, so thank you for that.
No, thank you.
I'm gonna skip my previous question because I was thinking about what's your audience, but it seems to me that you're addressing more or less the side of the platform engineering, the upside eventually.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
So my last question is about this event overall. Is that your first KubeCon, or did you do more? I mean, with Spectro Cloud, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
And secondly, what's your feeling about KubeCon Paris?
Yeah, no, thank you. I mean, it's my third KubeCon, and I mean, the community is just amazing, and the CNCF or Kubernetes is going to be 10 years this year, and it's just amazing to see all these people that have been contributing to Kubernetes, the real heroes, and thanks to all of them, because they're building an amazing product that is changing the landscape of industries. And it's great to see all these many people out here. I mean, KubeCon the past 3 years, the ones that I've been here, has been growing and growing and growing. And I mean, it just shows how mature Kubernetes is becoming and how different enterprises are embracing Kubernetes itself. It's actually going to be, I had a talk last year at KubeCon. I'm going to have another talk this year, so I'm excited for that. But we actually have, at Spectro Cloud, we actually have 3 talks tomorrow on Friday as well. And we're going to have one at 11 a.m., which is my talk. We're going to have another one at 2:55, and we're going to have a panel at 4 p.m. So, and that's going to be super exciting. And I forgot your last question.
That was the last question.
That was the last question. There we go.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much.
Wish you a great KubeCon. Enjoy it, and congratulations. Great tech.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Thank you, guys.